My name's Jeff Potts. I was born in 1975 and graduated high school in 1993, so I know all about the 90s.
When you first think of the 90s, what's the first thing you think of?
I think of high school. And I think of the first Gulf War, and that's the first thing that comes to mind.
Do you remember what you dressed like in the 90s?
We did. I remember rolling my pant legs. It was very important to have a nice tight roll on your jeans so that they were tight around your ankles and kind of poofed out. I remember wearing what we called MC Hammer pants, big flight pants made out of nylon that kind of poofed in the wind. We did not have much of a fashion sense back in the 90s.
Do you remember when the cell phone first came out, or when you first had a cell phone?
I didn't get a cell phone until about 4 years ago. What was cool in the 90s was pagers. You know, pagers were very big in the early 90s, and it was funny because you had this thing on your hip and it would go off and then you'd have to go find a payphone. Remember what payphones were? You actually had to plug quarters in them to make phone calls. So pagers were cool in the 90s.
When you think back to the 90s, what's the first thing you think of?
I think of the first Gulf War and the Packers winning the Super Bowl.
Computers just coming out and big screens and technology starting to expand.
Do you remember how you dressed in the 90s?
Badly. No. Still leggings, just like the 80s. Leggings were big, and big hair was still in, perms.
When did you start using a cell phone?
99 for me.
They were big. Cell phones were really big. Like, not like...
They used to call them car phones.
Yeah.
They were this big.
And you could really only use them in your phone, in your car.
Really crude technology.
What would you say you would think of when you think of the 90s?
In the 90s, I was in middle school and high school, so I would definitely think of fashion and making sure I was cool and wearing barrettes in my hair and I don't know, chasing after boys.
What would you say that you wore in the 90s, like, and your friends?
When my sisters made me dress up for school, they would put me in overalls and they would put me in these bodysuits that were, it's like a leotard that you snap down here, and it's a leotard that you wore and you could wear it under your overalls. It was really cool.
Do you remember any of the music in the 90s?
Yes. Me and my girlfriends were big followers of Hanson, the three brothers. We were followers of, they were followers of Pearl Jam. I wasn't that cool yet. And TLC, Crazy Sexy Cool, that album, that was a really cool album.